Hey there, hello there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another Stone Cold Hockey video, and we are doing the 83-84 Edmonton Oilers, and we are setting things up. We are getting to the stretch drive. We've done 61 of our 80 games, so we are 12 points ahead of Calgary for the tops in the division, with Winnipeg, Vancouver fighting for third place and trying to avoid us in the playoffs. As in the 84, it was the top four in each division, 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3. And then the Norris winner faces the Smythe winner, and the Adams winner takes on the Patrick winner of the playoff thing, and that leads us to the Stanley Cup. In the North, St. Louis nips in Minnesota by 2 points. Chicago, Detroit, and Toronto are fighting for third, fourth, and fifth. In the Adams, Buffalo looking pretty good with Boston, Quebec, Montreal fighting for second place and trying to avoid Buffalo, as it seemed. Hartford looking terrible. Washington, Rangers, Islanders, and Philly are definitely going to make the playoffs. I mean, you really think New Jersey and Pittsburgh are playing for the playoffs? They have not even hit 20 wins. Anyhow, first goal scoring, Wayne Gretzky's 1 goal away from 50. He needs one. Goulet's 2 away from 50. Pierre LaRouche third. Mike Gardner, Rick 5, and Brian Sutter if I hit the 40-goal mark. I don't think Brian Sutter ever had 40 goals in real life. I don't know. Yuri Curry's tied for 14 for 34. Paul Coffey's tied for 20 for 31. Glenn Anderson has 30. Points wise, the great one with 130 points. Michel Goulet 99 points, and the puck ain't one. Hit me. Coffey's got 92 points for third. Curry's 22nd. Anderson's 28th. Goaltending, Al Jansen looking pretty good with Tom Perazzo and Pete Peterson. He goes against Mark Eddie Muggs 7th, 21, 4, and 5. That's a pretty good mark. The 3-1-6 goes against Fures 16, 11, 4, 3, 4, 1. Standings wise, we've played 61 games. Winnipeg has only played 58. They're the only team that have played less than 60. Vancouver's played 63, so their point percentage is not really the greatest. By points percentage, everything is just hunky dory. We have scored 286 goals. That's number one in the conference by 20 over Minnesota. Only two other teams that scored 270 goals: Quebec and Rangers. They're not number one because their defense is not really the best around. We have only given up 210 goals. That's number one in our conference. Buffalo, Boston, Washington, Rangers, and the Islanders have given up fewer than us, but they play in the Wales Conference. We are 1981 at home, the only team in the Campbell Conference that has less than 10 home losses. Washington, Rangers, Islanders, Buffalo, Boston, Quebec, Montreal all have fewer than 10 home losses. On the road, we've scored 18 wins. We are tied with Washington for first. Highlights wise, you see all those things. Lots of hat tricks, 62 of them. The fan voting, 35s in all. Toronto, New Jersey from October 16th when the Leafs were up 6-3 and gave the Devils their first win. St. Louis, Winnipeg from December 23rd. Both teams were 16-4 and 4, but 13. St. Louis, Montreal 8-5. Montreal was up 5-2. Hartford, Calgary from January 13th. Calgary was up 5-1 and gave up 5 straight goals. Like, frick. We lost 6-5 to Hartford February the 12th. We were up 3-0. That's a game I didn't do because we were on a losing streak at the time. Toronto, LA, 7-6. Only the second game of the year. 35 points. Lots of teams will have 17. My comeback, well, St. Louis and Hartford, that was a big one. Lots of 3-goal comebacks, too. We are playing in St. Louis, who are chasing for the North Division, February 21st. And we have Grant Fuhr, the big boy, who would be a St. Louis goalie a decade plus later, and the first African American goalie in the Hockey Hall of Fame. And Rick Hines is making the surprise move by St. Louis. As Rick Hines is in the net, not Mike Liut, who 3 years prior was the Hart Trophy runner-up to Mr. Gretzky. Bunny LaRock also playing for St. Louis. That's a rarity because Bunny LaRock, who knew? Anyway, St. Louis in real life only won 32 games, so they would have to go 0-18-1 to be their realistic mark. You really think they're going to give up 19 straight losses? Anyway, we have the great Wayne Gretzky. We have Glenn Anderson, great player. Gary Curry, the original Finnish Flash. Sorry, Team Zeleny. Paul Coffey, Kitchener. Mark Moose Messier. Pat Hughes, Dave Hunter. Wee Willie Lindstrom, Ken the Rat Lindsman, Dr. Randy Gregg, yes, he was a doctor, Earl Prosar, Charlie Hoodie, Kevin McClellan, Don Jackson, Dave Lumley, Dave Semenko the Protector, Lou Fogelin, Kevin Lowe, Pat Conacher, Rick Chartra, Kitchener, also Venezuela, Ken Perry, Raimel Sumanen, and Jaden Playfair, who embarrassed himself on an AHL game and made himself YouTube loyalty. St. Louis has the great one Brady Federico, Joe Mullen before he became a Penguin and a Flame, Brian Sutter, part of the Sutter brothers, the six of them, Jurgen Pedersen, who scored a key goal in '84 that had the Blues make the Norris final, I think. Doug Gilmour, yeah, he was a Blue before he was a Flame, before he was a Maple Leaf. He who shall not be mentioned because of how shitty he was in the vehicular manslaughter of one Mr. Keith Magnuson, and also how crappy he was as the Leafs captain later on. Perry Turnbull, Wayne Babbage, Guy Chouinard, still around. Former Atlanta Flame. Mark Reeds, Pat Hickey, he's been around a long. Craig Poslowski, Doug Wickenheiser, who got picked up from the Habitants because Montreal made him the number one pick in 1980, stupidly enough, passing Danny Savard. Rick Wilson, Perry Anderson, Jack Carlson, part of the Slapshot Gang. Dick Schofield, Alain Lemieux, yeah, Mario's brother. Tim Bodwell, Terry Johnson, Jack Brownscheitel, Dave Pichette, and Gilbert Delhomme. 1 minute into the game, we score! La 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 Lumley. His fourth from Gretz and Anderson. No, 1 more minute. It's a score! Oh man, that guy really hockey gods. 4 minutes later, we score! Ooh, sorry. His seventh from Coffee makes it 2-1. 2 minutes later. Good. 4 minutes later. Much later. Anderson thought he could score 5 goals in 1 period. Much later. Gretzky, there's number 50. You knew it, and you saw it on the network from Kevin Lowe. 3-3 tie. Gretzky scores 50 goals, but in 62 games. Use the first penalty, and it's Mark Reeds. Can we take it? We do. Power play goal. The only coffee I drink is ice caps. Catch it. It's 30 seconds from Fogelin and Gretzky. 3 minutes later. We score! Doctor, help me out. Well, it's Edmonton. So Bunny the Rock is going to come in the net. Greg's 10 from Gretzky and Messier. Might as well put Bunny the Rock in the net. Jurgen scores to make it 5-4. A minute later. Sutter gets whacked by Fogelin. Ah, great. I thought so. Terry Johnson hit second. Sutter and Muller. 5-5. Oh, they're pulling their goalie. We're pulling ours. You know what? Penalty on us. Puzar. Fuck. Unreal. Someone's going home unhappy. 1 minute later, we get agitated. It's Anderson. Background bowling off the 5. 4 minutes later. A chance. Skiers. There's Gretzky second of the night from Curry. Makes it 7-6. 5 more minutes. Let's go. We did it again. 5 minutes later. Skiers. Throw the hats on the ice. Oops. Wrong stadium. Gretzky's 52nd from Anderson. 8-7. 16 goals in 3 periods. Every period had 5 goals. 5-6-5 are the goals in the within by both teams. Larocque beats Moog technically. So yeah, the Blues win 9-7. Fuck. We were at 5-3 and we choked it. I guess you could say, but 16 freaking all 4 power plays that were scored on. We lose 9-7, which means we have to simulate until Edmonton wins. We're in Pittsburgh. Fuck, we can't even do Edmonton Pittsburgh? Really? Really? 5-0. Thank you, Moog. With a shutout from Marshall Dion, Lindstrom, Gregg, Hughes, Gretzky, and Coffee. Kitchener. But is Pittsburgh really trying or not? I don't know. Too bad we're not simulating this and then have the draft of Mario Lemieux because technically it's a turtle derby. We host Calgary. Vancouver beats LA. We host Calgary, our hated rivals. And Moog is in the net against Don Edwards. Kitchener! That's right, Don Edwards was a former Kitchener Ranger goalie. The best former Kitchener Ranger goalie to play in the AHL till one Steve Mason. Reggie Lemelin is not in the net. He's the guy with the synthetic pads that made history. Mike Vernon is still too young. The Flames have Eddie Beers, Lanny McDonald, great player that the Leafs just got rid of because Punch and Luck want to be a cocksucker. To come out. Kent Nielsen, number 12 in their playbook. Hawk and Luke, Doug Ricebrill, Kitchener. That's right, Doug Ricebrill, former Kitchener Ranger. Danny Quinn, Steve Tambellini, Mike Eves, Colin Patterson, Al McInnes, Kitchener. That's right, that's 3. Richard Crum, Steve Bolzek, Jamie McCowan, before he was a Leaf defenseman, Paul Baxter, Paul Reinhardt. You guessed it, Kitchener. That's 6. Jim Jackson, Dave Heinmark, Curry Lantra, Tim Hunter, Tony Styles, Kerry Wilson, Steve Conrad, Jamie Hislop, and Mickey Folin. And no, that's all the Kitchener Rangers there are. 6 former Kitchener Rangers. It's Crom, not a Kitchener Ranger. It's good. Former Kitchener Ranger goalie. And no, they were not teammates. Everett's was drafted from Kitchener in 78, I think, or 77, whatever. 2 minutes later. Ayaranta. Who's going the power play? Doctor, can you help me? He has just scored number 12 from Anderson. Should have known. That should be my time. 5 minutes later. Anderson gets whacked by Peplinski. That's a penalty. A minute later. Mark Messier is a resident of St. Alberta, Alberta. We're up 3-0. 4 minutes later. Chance for Hughes. Damn it. Purser. There's a fight. Riceboro fighting Puzar. Really? But we land a quick hard shot. So Puzar and Riceboro. I think we did. I didn't get the prize. Oh, the oil drops. 4 minutes later. Back. 5 minutes later. Attack -1, but low. 2 minutes in the box. And are we going to give up a goal? No. Calgary is so pissed off, they're going to just give Mike Fernan the net. 3 minutes. Hail. Save Hunter. And they score. Kitchener. Riceboro from McCowan and McInnes. So 2 Kitchener Rangers combined to screw us over. Of course, we almost have back-to-back shutouts, but that's not happening. And we can't score. Fuck. Televised matches. There we go, 5-1. That was easy. A little too easy. I feel bad for Don Edwards because he lost, and we fucked him up with 3 power play goals. But come on, Calgary took dumb penalties. Hey. We win 5-1. Saturday night is all right. 9 games, and we are hosting Toronto for Hockey Night Canada. Yep, it's the Battle of Canada. Do 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 do. The Leafs have Ellen Bester in net. I think it was like 19 or something. The popcorn kid Mike Palmateer still around. Rick St. Croix, Ken Reggett, who's also a youngster. I think it was like 19. And Bruce Dowie. That was the goalie. Nevertheless, we are at home. Andy Bogue, hot hand, put him in the net. Rick 5, the 50-goal scorer for multiple times for the Leafs, and they never had a 50-goal scorer. Bill Derlago, who also was picked up in the big Toronto Vancouver trade that sent Tiger over to T. Dot. John Anderson, okay. Dale McCord, who was in a Ontario courtroom because of his violence one time. Dan Dowell, Greg Terrian, Terry Martin, Jim Benning, okay. Jim Corrin, what a year. Walt Pundaby, Stewie Gavin, Miro Fraser, Peter Ingwersak, Gaston Shingra, Baby Bull, Boris Salming, still around. Dave Farish, Gary Lehman. Why did you have him in defenseman? Pat Graham, Russ Courtnall, who the Leafs will stupidly trade to Montreal for the ones of John frickin' Kordick. Bill Stewart, Gary Nyland, who was a pretty good defenseman, but he was injury prone. Frank Vigro, what a name. Rich Costello, and Dave Hutchison. 1 minute into the game. He's in the zone. Damn it. As Wee Willie Lindstrom puts his 20th goal on the board from Curry and Semenko. Much later. They score. Dowell says 15 from Borje McCourt. 5 minutes later. They score. Mr. Anderson. 3 minutes later. They scored 5:42 from McCourt and Derlago. 2-2 tie after one period. Wow, we're giving up 2 goals to the Leafs? We gave up only one to Calgary. 1 minute later. Googling. That was good pick. We have a chance 5. Nizzer. Great. And I knew it too. John Anderson scores from 5, makes it 3-2. I don't do the taunts for the road team, for the opposition. Terry Martin. Do we tie? Kill the zone. Fuck. Much later. There's the big one from Gretzky is. 4-3, the Leafs are going to throw Bruce Dowie in the net. Why not? They score. Terrian scores from Salming and Bill Stewart makes it 4-4. What? 4 minutes later. They score. Johnny Anderson second from Dowell's 5-4. Fuck this. 10 minutes left. We're allowed. Fuck this. I'm going with Fuhr. And Terry Martin can't convert. They have a chance. Oh. Empty nets. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? We shut down Calgary, who got like 30 wins, and yet we lose to the 21-win Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm a Leaf fan, yeah, but like losing to those guys? Fuck, we chased Bester from the net. And Terry and Anderson score 5-4. I don't know how to feel right now. Sick to your stomach? Probably. Toronto heads to Vancouver after this, and they lose to the 21 Canucks, but they beat us. We're in Winterpeg for our next game, so we might as well. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, that's right. We won. We lost, so we have to play, and we lose. Moog losing to Mike Pfizer. What the frig? Coffee, Gretzky, and Anderson scored, but Winterpeg beat us. What the hell is wrong with us? How can we lose to Toronto? February 29th, and yes, that is Leap Day. So we play Philly, and we win 6-2. Thank goodness. Fuhrer beats Pelly Lindbergh. Gretzky, Coffee, Low, Coffee, Anderson, Gretzky. So Gretzky's now got 60 goals. Hooray for Gretzky. Hooray for Snakes. Hooray for Snakes. New Jersey actually won a game. So we are not playing on a Saturday night? There's 9 games, but not us? Fuck. Montreal, Calgary on Hockey Night in Canada. Calgary wins the game. Toronto loses to the Cupcakes on Hockey Night in Canada. So we play Montreal. Wow, that'll be a great matchup. Summary wise, we're 10 points ahead of Calgary. We've played 67 games, so we're 13 games left. We're up by 10. Vancouver and Winnipeg are fighting for third, and it's going to probably be those 4 teams. LA's got nowhere near. St. Louis leads Minnesota by just 2 points. Minnesota does have the game in hand. Chicago's nipping Detroit for third. Toronto is at 50. They're catching. They're catching. Hartford, no way they're making the playoffs. Buffalo, 94. Boston, 88. Quebec, third. Montreal, fourth. And in the Patrick, Washington, the Rangers, and Islanders looking pretty good. Top 3. Philly knows that New Jersey and Pittsburgh are just basically playing Turtle Derby. Gretzky's got 60 goals. Pierre LaRouche has 52, so he's second. Jacques 51. Coffee's tied for 15th. Great. Curry's tied for 20th. Glenn Anderson's got 33 goals. Goals against, Moak's dropped to 9th. And Fear's 14th. Brasso, Jensen, Melanson are your 3 main goalie icons. I don't call them that, but whatever. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do